Thank you, Tori, and hello to everybody. It's really, really lovely to have you on this webinar this morning, and I hope you're well, and I hope you're super excited about coming to Manchester. I think you will have met either myself or Chris or Ian when you had your interview to come to the college. So it's really lovely, although we can't see you, that you are here on the webinar today about what to expect when you arrive. Now, as I said before, we're really looking forward to you coming to the college. We're on the kind of 3-week countdown now to the induction week and to arriving. And if you're in the boarding, to you coming to our boarding or our host families. So, you know, the main thing is I just hope you're really excited because, you know, this is going to be a really lovely new experience for you and for us having you here in Manchester. So this presentation is just a little bit about what to expect. I'd like to reiterate that we will, of course, take up anything with you individually on an individual basis about your travel plans here, and we'll talk a bit about that later. So coming to Abbey College Manchester, we have 180 students on roll. We've got students from 35 different countries, and we get students into top universities each year. And this year's been no exception in terms of our results, which have been outstanding, and our university destinations. So you are going to learn a little bit more about the college and why you may wish to be, you know, the safety measures that we're going to have in place, about studying with us and about living in Manchester. So those are the things we're going to go through in this presentation today. Okay, so let's start off about what to expect when you join Abbey College Manchester. Here's a lovely picture of the Town Hall Square and our Metrolink system, which runs through the city centre. The college is but 2 or 3 minutes walk from there. I got off the tram this morning just there to go into college. And, you know, Manchester is a vibrant city. Manchester's coming back alive again. There's lots of things going on, from sporting events through to cultural events to food events, lots of exciting things. And when you're here, of course, you're here for your education. So you're going to have small classes and excellent teachers, and all our teachers are super excited about coming back to college and meeting you. To help you along in your studies, we have our Success in the Sixth Form programme if you're in the sixth form. We have our medical preparation programme if you're doing a competitive course. We have all our enrichment courses alongside all of the normal subject lessons. Now, we have a house system, and that's nothing to do with where you live. It's to be a place within the college that you are located. You have your head of house, and there's 3 houses, Bridgewater, Gaskell and Rylands. And your head of house is kind of the first link for your guardians, parents or agents. And then we have your tutor who's in your house. And the idea of the house system is that we have the 3 houses and you have a belonging in that house for the whole time that you're in the college. And there will be competitions, there will be things that you can do, you will foster friends in the different year groups. So that's very much a way of making you feel a part of our small Abbey family when you come to Abbey College Manchester. And of course we all know each other because we're a small college, and that's all part of our Abbey family. So while you're away from home, maybe for the first time, you're going to be part of our Abbey family where we're going to look after you and make sure that everything is perfect for you. So in terms of the results and why you come to study at Abbey College Manchester, so this summer we had 100% pass rate at A level. 61% of our grades were A star or A, 83% A star B, and 97% A star to C. So that means that all our students were very happy with their results, and they've got into the universities of their choice or the courses of their choice. Similarly, our International Foundation programme, the overall score average was 70%. 84% in the medicine pathway, 68% in business and economics, 64% in engineering and 64% in science. Again, fantastic destinations, students going to medical school, engineering, going to business and economics, accounting, law, finance, all sorts of courses of their choice, and delighted students. And then for our younger students, we got 28% top grades and 100% pass rate at GCSE. And those students are then progressing through into our sixth form to study A-levels or our foundation programme. So an amazing summer for results. And I have to say, you must be very proud of all the students, the same as you've had to work through a difficult time in the pandemic. They have done exceptionally well. Now, most universities that students go to are in the UK. However, some students do go to universities in other countries. And students, as I said before, go on to study a wide range of competitive university courses. I've mentioned medicine, engineering, law, economics, marketing, computer science. You know, these are people that are going to be the future people for the country, either here or going home to your own country, where you're going to be a decision maker, a leader. You're going to be making the future for your country. And that's why it's so important to get the right degree. And by coming to Abbey Manchester, we will steer you into that right direction at the right institution for you. And over 40% of our students go to Russell Group universities, including Manchester, our very own university here, Durham, Newcastle, Southampton, King's College, Liverpool, Imperial, to name a few. And of course, we also have students going to other Russell Group universities to study in terms of A-level. We've got Imperial, Leeds, Manchester, York, and so on. So IFP students and A-level students going to fantastic universities. And that really, for most of you, is going to be your aim, your destination, what you're going to be doing next. But in the meantime, you've got your education here with us, which we want you to enjoy. So it's really important, isn't it, that you feel safe at the college. This has been an unprecedented couple of years. And therefore, although we are moving forward and we're moving out of this zone of the pandemic, we are still needing to take safety measures very seriously. So as kind of protocol, we will be doing lateral flow testing twice a week. Whether you've been vaccinated or not, you will do the testing program. That's just a little help to make sure we can trigger if there is a problem. We have our thermal cameras and handheld thermometers in case, so that we can check temperatures on the way into the building and in the boarding. And throughout the college, there are hand sanitizers at the entrance, on every corridor, in every classroom. We are maintaining the one-way system around the college building. We talked to the students, they liked it better. It was less congestion on the stairs, so a good thing that's come out. We also have our classrooms with some degree of social distancing, and you can wear your face covering as you wish. And then some areas we will ask you to wear your face covering, even though that isn't mandatory. Because at the beginning of term, even COVID to one side, there are lots of little germs and colds and things that go round, which, you know, as the start of any normal academic year. So if we can avoid catching those as well, then that will be really good. Now, there will be some quarantine, which we'll go into, and that will be in our boarding for some students under 18. Other students will have to quarantine in hotel, but we'll talk about all that later. But it really does depend what country you're coming from. And of course, the country you start out from, if it's a green country, you want to avoid at all costs changing in a red country. Now, over Christmas, if you are not wanting to travel home or you're not able to travel home, like last year, then Abbey College Manchester students will be able to stay at Abbey College Cambridge over Christmas and have a little holiday in Cambridge. And that worked out lovely last year for everybody that did that. So what I'm going to talk about now are the vaccination programs. So just to be really clear about vaccines, we have had the quickest vaccination program in Europe, in the UK. Nearly 90% of the adult population are now vaccinated, and the vaccinations are being rolled out now to 18, 17, 16-year-olds, which means that you, if you have not had vaccinations, would be eligible for the Pfizer vaccine in the UK. Most adults have had the AstraZeneca vaccine, which was developed in the UK and produced here. Now, I know some of you may have had vaccinations in your home country. If you have, then you will obviously have a record of that. And then if there are any kind of other boosters or anything like that, then we can look at that on an individual basis as to what the best way forward is. And we are nurse, and again, the government website will help us look at that solution for you if it's required. But if you have been tested, if you have been vaccinated, we still ask that you do the testing, the bi-weekly testing, which is the same as all the staff, myself and everyone else will do. Now, I'm going to hand over now to Chris Randall, who is Assistant Principal, and he looks after boarding and all pastoral matters in the college. And he's going to talk a little bit more about travelling to the UK and which country you're coming from. And then he's going to talk a little bit about boarding and a little bit about what to expect in terms of your life when you get to Manchester. Chris, over to you. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Liz. Hi, everybody. Okay, so as Liz said, one of the key things for most of you when you are traveling to the UK over the coming kind of weeks is going to be where you're traveling from. That's really important, because if you are in a green country or an amber country, then you want to avoid going to or through a red country, because if you have to change planes in a red country, then for the UK government, it's as though you're coming from a red country, and you'll have to follow those rules. So you'll be sent a copy of this webinar, because we are recording it, and there's a link there to the UK government website. And there's a list on the government website of which countries are currently green, which are currently amber, which are currently red. And obviously this is changing. So you'll have to make sure you keep an eye on it when you're booking your flight and when you're deciding when you're going to travel, because where you're coming from, as we said, is very important in terms of the colour. So in terms of safety measures here at Abbey College, Manchester, if you are coming from a green list country, then you don't need to do any kind of quarantine, and that's absolutely fine. You can fly, you do your test before you fly, and then you arrive in the UK, and it's absolutely fine. If you're coming from an amber list country and you are under 18, which most of you are, then you do not need to quarantine. Okay, you'll need to do your test pre-flight, and you'll need to book a test for here in the UK on day 2, but you do not need to quarantine. If you are over 18, if you are 18 or over and coming from an amber country, you will need to quarantine for 10 days here in the UK, and you can do that in our boarding for those of you who are boarding, or you can do that with your homestay host for those of you who are going to homestays. All right, so that's if you're 18 or over coming from an amber list country, you will have to quarantine for 10 days in the UK, but you can do that with us. However, and then the same is true if you are under 18 and coming from a red list country. Okay, so if you're 15, 16, 17 and coming from a red list country, you do your pre-flight COVID test, you book a COVID test for day 2 here in the UK, and you can then quarantine with us here in Clydesdale House or with your homestay host if you're staying with a homestay host. However, if you are 18 or over and coming from a red list country, and a few of you are, then you have to quarantine in the government approved hotel. Okay, we have no say over this. We're not allowed to change this. No boarding school in the UK is allowed to change this, because if you're 18 or over, you're treated unfortunately as an adult, and you'll have to book yourself into one of the government approved hotels for, I think it's actually 11 nights, and that costs £2,275. Okay, so please make sure that you check all the rules before you fly. You check if you're a red list country, if you are aged over 18, if you are aged 18 or over. Okay, so before you actually fly, then once you book your flight, some of you have booked your flights already, because we're getting some dates in from some of you, which is really great. You will need to complete the passenger locator form, and on the passenger locator form, you will need to fill in details of the COVID test that you have booked here in the UK for day 2. All right, so again, all of this information is easily available on the websites of the airlines who you're booking with, or again on the link from a couple of slides ago. All right, and so you'll need to book a COVID test for day 2, and you'll get a reference number, and that reference number you will need to enter in the passenger locator form. Okay, you will also need to do a COVID test that proves you are negative before you fly. And then once you're here in the UK, then obviously take that COVID test on day 2. Now, if you're coming from an amber list country and you are quarantining with us, you will be able to do the test, the day 5 test as well, which is called a test and release. And if you don't want to have to quarantine for the full 10 days, you can do the test to release on day 5. But if you're coming from a red list country, you can't. If you're coming from a red list country, you will have to do the full 10 days. So there we go. So if you do need to quarantine, we will, you must make sure you give us your flight details, and we will then be able to book you a taxi from the airport, either to Clydesdale House or to your homestay host. And then obviously you won't be able to leave that. And for those of you who will be arriving kind of after term starts, and I know that will be some of you because I know there aren't flights available from every country, or the flights are already full, or some of you have got to fly internally within your countries and then quarantine internally before you can then get on another flight. Don't worry about missing the start of term, because all of your lessons can be accessed remotely initially. Okay, so over the next couple of weeks, you will be receiving your email addresses, your login details, and what you will need to do is you will need to download Teams, Microsoft Teams, onto your laptop, and then you'll be able to log on to Teams using your Abbey College email, and then all of your lessons initially will be on Teams. Okay, we're very experienced using Teams, as I'm sure most of you are, and most of you have used it over the last 2 years. So, you know, don't worry about not being here on time. You won't miss out on any of your education, and there'll be more information available kind of over the coming weeks about exactly what's going to happen, because we've got an induction week. So the week beginning Monday the 6th of September, we'll do an assembly. You'll get to meet your head of house, you'll get to meet your form tutors, and then you'll get to meet your subject teachers. All right, and they will be able to explain in far more detail exactly what's going to happen. Oh, well, there we go. As it says on this slide. Thanks, Tori. Okay, so some of you are coming into boarding, which is really exciting, and we're really happy to have. Oh, hi, Ian.
Chris, sorry to interrupt there. So can I just make a point just before you go on to the boarding information? Traveling into the UK, of course, is quite complicated for everybody, unfortunately, at the moment. But where possible, I will be trying to speak to each and every one of you before you fly. Okay, so I'm going to try and speak. So once your flight is booked, I'm going to try and speak to everybody at least sort of 3 or 4 days before their flight sort of takes off. So, and I can go through all the kind of the quarantine issues and that sort of thing again. So while we're kind of bombarding you with information today, it will hopefully become more clear when I speak to you on a one-to-one basis before you fly. Okay, I just wanted to make that clear. Okay.
That's brilliant. Thanks, Ian.
Thank you.
Yeah, because it is a very strange time, and you know, as we know, rules are changing the whole time. So once you've booked your flight, make sure we know when that flight is arriving, and then Ian will then be able to have a chat with you individually. So as I say, we're looking forward to welcoming some of you into boarding, and we're really excited because Clydesdale House is our brand new boarding house. We've moved from where we used to be. And we've been busy this summer setting everything up, making everything ready for you. And Clydesdale House is a fantastic boarding house, and it's only about an 8 to 10 minute walk away from here, where we are in Abbey College, Manchester. We're right in the centre of Manchester, and Clydesdale House, it's a 10-minute walk kind of in that direction. It's a very safe walk. You've only got to cross one road, and then it's all pedestrianised roads. And I know some of you have asked for the rooms that you want. Some of you got standard rooms, some of you have got the premium and the deluxe rooms. And as you can see in these photos, it's really nice. You've got nice big beds. You've each got your own individual bathroom, so you're not sharing bathroom. And then you'll be in little kind of clusters of 8 to 10 bedrooms, so with 6, 7, 8, 9 other students, and each cluster has got its own kitchen. There's a picture of the kitchen there, where you can cook, although we also provide all the food you could possibly ever want. We've got a fantastic cook called Esther, who is from Nigeria, and she used to live in Spain, and she's been in the UK for a number of years. So her cooking is incredibly international, and she's really excited about the move, because where we have been for the last few years, she's only been able to cook vegetarian food, but here in Clydesdale House, she's able to cook meat. So she and Lizzie, who is the head of boarding, have been working on the menus. The menus look really exciting. And again, if there's something you don't like, if there's something you want her to change, if there's something you would really like to add because you miss it from home, just go and have a word with Lizzie, go and have a word with Esther, and they can change the menu. They can add certain things to the menu. We're also really excited that we've got 3 fantastic live-in house parents who will be coming to work with us here, and they will be living in Clydesdale House with you. And yeah, it's going to be a fantastic place for you to live over the next kind of year, 2 years, or for some of you 3 years. And as you know, as Liz said, we are a big family here. Because we are so small, we do all know each other really well. And if you are worried about anything, if you're struggling with anything, if you've got concerns, be they academic concerns, pastoral concerns about you're so far from home, whatever it is, then just come and talk to us. All right, you've got your heads of house, you've got your assistant heads of house, you've got your form tutor. We've got a great Senko who's called Jen, who can also support you. I'm there, the international office is there, the domestic office is there. All right, there's lots and lots of people for you to talk to. And in terms of your parents, agents, guardians, as Liz said, their first point of contact will be your head of house. We've got 3 fantastic heads of house. And again, we are all here to help you. We're all here to help you make the most of your time here in Manchester, here in the UK. Our college motto is achieving success together, and it's the together part which is really important, because this is you working with us for a common goal. And as Liz said, we're really excited about welcoming you all here to Manchester. It's been a very funny, there we go, achieving success together, excellent. It's been a very funny kind of 18 months, 2 years for everybody. It's been really tough. And so as we do kind of look to getting back to normality, it's going to be really exciting in various ways that we help you out. Regular academic meetings, we give you reports at least every half term. All right, and those reports are sent home, they're sent to parents, agents, guardians, and again, they flag any issues that you may be having, and we can then work with you on what they are. We've got, for those of you who will be in year 13 or doing the IFP, those of you who are thinking of going to the university here in the UK or anywhere in the world, again, a lot of individual bespoke support available to you. And then for those of you who are coming to the end of year 11, year 12 next year, you'll have individual one-to-one reviews about your next stage, about your next step, about what you think, what we think, how we can help you, how you can help yourself, how you can help us. So the beauty of being so small is we can really help you as individuals. And obviously a lot of you, English won't be your first language, so we do lots of academic English support and or IELTS classes. Some of you will need IELTS to go to university. Some of you will have done IELTS recently to get your visa to be here in the UK, so you've seen kind of how tough the IELTS tests can be. But again, we will provide you lots and lots of IELTS lessons, lots of support, to help you get on to the next stage of your education. Fantastic. So that kind of gives you a little brief overview of what we are, of what's going to happen over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, whatever. And obviously for all of you, it is going to be a slightly different journey than it would have been in the past. And for some of you, it's going to be an easy journey. For some of you, it's going to be slightly more difficult. But, you know, we are all here to support you. And if any of you got any questions right now, then please either type them in the box, or Tori, am I right in saying they can unmute and ask the questions, or would you rather they were all typed?
Hi, no, I don't think people can unmute. They're going to need to
Okay.
type their questions through to us. I'm just going to have a quick look at the case. So far, no questions have come through. I'm just going to put something in the chat. Obviously, the presentation has been very detailed, and I imagine everyone's just sort of taking things in. Okay, questions just come through here. Could you talk a bit more about living with host families and how that works, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So students, so we can only accept students who are 16 or over in Clydesdale House. All right, and that's for insurance purposes. That's not Abbey College rules. That's the rules by the company who runs the boarding. So for those of you who are under 16, you will be coming to live with one of our homestay hosts. And these are families who we've worked with for many, many, many years, who are used to welcoming Abbey College students into their families, and who will look after you as though you are a member of their family. All right, and that's kind of the whole point of them being called host families. So as a college, we are right in the centre of Manchester. Okay, we are slap bang in the middle of the city. If you look on Google Maps and put a pin in the middle of Manchester, you will find Abbey College. And the homestay hosts kind of live all around Greater Manchester. And so the transport links from the homestay hosts here into town are excellent. As we saw on one of the pictures before, there are lots of trams in Manchester. There are also lots of trains, there are lots of buses. So transport from the homestay host into town will be really easy. Your homestay host will explain to you where to catch the bus or where to catch the tram or the train, and they'll tell you also where to get off. They might do it with you the first couple of times. And then, so actually in the house, you will have your own private bedroom. If you're lucky, you'll have your own private bathroom, although I'm not sure how many do have their private bathrooms. And then it's your home. It's your home. Okay, so the host will provide breakfast for you. They'll provide an evening meal for you. They will give you a packed lunch to bring to college, and then you're living there like you're living at your house. So they might take you out at weekends. They may have other children of your kind of age. They may have older children, and again, if you have any special dietary requirements, they will be able to do those for you. And you'll provide, obviously you'll have Wi-Fi, you'll have a study space probably in your bedroom, there'll be a TV, and I think it's really important for those of you who are going to be living with the homestay families to make sure you kind of interact with them. So you go and talk to them at meal times, you come and talk to them in the evenings and at weekends. You don't just go and sit in your bedroom, which obviously is very tempting. But as I said, the homestay hosts, the homestay families have been working with Abbey College for many, many, many years. All right, so they are all very experienced at welcoming international students into their homes and looking after them really well. I mean, we've got 2 boys who've been with their homestay host for the last 2 years. They joined us when they were year 10, and they were supposed to be moving into Clydesdale House because they're now both age 16. And they sent us an email last week and they said, we love our homestay host so much that is it possible to stay here for the next 2 years instead of moving into boarding? And of course that is, and that's lovely to hear. And everybody who stays with the homestay families are really happy.
That's great. Thank you very much for that, Chris. Now, another few more questions coming in. Another one, we've talked already about recognising that some students are having some difficulties in terms of getting flights to arrive for the start of term. And some sort of, what is there a cut-off date? If someone was to arrive almost like a month past the starting date, for how much longer can we continue to welcome students late?
I mean, the thing is, we know that travel's difficult. What we would urge you to do, though, is to be planning your travel plans, because obviously we do want you to get here as soon as you can. However, we will be doing our induction, I think Chris mentioned this, online, so that everyone's on a level playing field. So the week commencing the 6th of September will be the academic induction, and in the morning that will be online. Now, those of you that have arrived in the UK are here and there's no quarantine, you'll be able to come into the college in the afternoon and see the building and meet people face to face. But we also know that there will be people that aren't quite here yet or haven't got their travel, their flights or their visas. We know that. And that's the same in any year. Doesn't matter whether it's a COVID or anything. We always have this scenario. But I think what's better this year and what has come out of COVID in a very positive way is that we have now used Teams. So we use Microsoft Teams, and all of you will be sent a login before term starts so that you've got your Abbey College login and that you've got access to the whole of the Microsoft Office suite, which means that you can access Teams, you've got your Abbey email, you can access all of those things. And we will do your induction with each of your subjects online in Teams. So you get used to that. And your teachers will then be posting things in Teams. You will be able to use the chat in the Teams function to be in touch with your teachers. So let's suppose you can't get your travel ticket until the 20th of September. Let's suppose that's the scenario. So we start lessons on the 13th. What will happen is all the students who are here in the UK will come into college and they'll come into the classrooms and be here. Your teachers will then have Teams up on their laptop and they will teach the classroom in front of them, and you will be able to watch your teachers and interact with your teachers through Teams on your laptop. Okay, so it's what we call a mixed economy lesson. We've got people there and we've got people remote. Now, as you can imagine, that's quite hard work for teachers because they've got to manage you on your laptop and people who are in front of them in the classroom. However, that is how we plan to operate. And we're planning that we can do that really for the first 6 weeks up until the half term, so that we can make sure that you're accommodated. Now, of course, if you're coming from a time zone that's maybe 9 or 10 hours apart, some of the lessons are going to be rather late in the evening for you. And similarly, if you're coming from a time zone that's far behind, then the lessons are going to be rather early for you. So if that's the case, work will be posted on the Teams, and there will be some recordings, not all, but there may be some recordings, or there may be other resources you can use if it's actually very hard for you to access the lesson. Similarly, when you're in transit, when you're flying, you're not going to be able to access lessons, but those resources will be in place. So we will do everything we can to make sure that you are keeping up with the course that you're on. All right, so yes, the answer is yes, if you're a month late, yes, you can join us, yes, you can be with us. Obviously, getting here as soon as you can is the optimum option, because the sooner you're here, that's what you want to come and do. You've come here, to be studying here, but we will accommodate you and we will do everything we can to make sure that you feel like you're getting the work you need and that you're not getting behind. Okay, so I hope that reassures you if you are in the position that you know you're not going to be able to travel right away. And we understand that, all right? So don't worry.
Just to add to what Liz has said, if you are going to be accessing your classes remotely, it's very important that you have a laptop. You can't really kind of work from Microsoft Teams from a mobile phone or anything like that. So it's very important that you have access to a laptop and obviously a reasonable internet connection as well. Okay.
And that you bring that laptop with you. I think in this day and age, you really need to have a decent laptop device. I think that's something that all of you need to have as part of your kit in terms of what you need to bring. Because as Ian says, you can't access properly a lesson on a phone. I mean, phones are fantastic, but they're not really the right kind of kit for accessing a lesson and dealing with resources and reading documents and uploading work and so on and so forth. And just back to that, obviously, once you're part of the team, every class will have a team. So you will be invited to that team by the teacher. It will automatically come through with your timetable. So if you're not actually here and you're still at home, then you will follow the timetable as it's set on the sort of, obviously on the BST times, British Summertime Times, in terms of moving forward. But Ian, yes, thank you for mentioning the laptop. Very important piece of kit for you to have.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm moving on actually from kits to bring a question about what should students be bringing with them for induction?
Okay, so in terms of induction, so yeah, I think your laptop's really important, and obviously you need your sort of usual pens and paper and all that kind of stuff, and it's important when you're traveling. I mean, we do a pre-travel checklist, I think, of items that you need to bring that are useful for you to bring to the UK. I mean, the one thing I joke with most of you about when I do an interview is that you probably need an umbrella, and later down the line a big coat and a scarf and some gloves, because it will get a bit colder. Some of you are used to that and some of you aren't, so you know, those are the sorts of things you need to bring. But for your induction, you know, we will be providing you with any textbooks, we'll provide you with any resources. So really it's laptop, pen and paper, calculator if you do maths, of course, or sciences, that kind of kit. And if you've got sort of a translator, a dictionary, they're always useful as well, in terms of kind of accessing lessons if you're not sure about some of the vocabulary.
That's wonderful, thank you. And then just a bit of confusion, if we could confirm the start of term. I think maybe a bit of confusion about, because obviously the boarding house is open and then there is the start of term. So can you just confirm the sort of the dates of what are expected of students?
Yep, so induction starts on Monday the 6th, and then academic lessons start on Monday the 13th. The boarding house is open from Saturday the 4th of September. So I'm not sure. So somebody's asked a bit of a strange question there. I'm not sure who's been saying any of these dates, but the 3rd is a Friday, so the 3rd doesn't come into it. But the boarding house, Clydesdale House, will be open from the 4th. Induction is the week beginning on Monday the 6th, but of course that's all online. And then for those of you who will be here in the UK and have finished your quarantine or not needing to quarantine, then we look forward to seeing you here in the building on Monday the 13th of September.
That's great, thank you very much for that. And then some questions in terms of a bit about support, really, in terms of if a student does need more support in a certain subject, and do we offer things like support lessons outside of the standard timetable, or how would we help a student get back on track?
In terms of the support for students, I mean, we do have 8 lessons a week for A-level, so that is a lot of contact time. The classes are small, the teachers are very happy to help, and one of the things with the teams is that you can ask a question, a bit like you're doing now, and just ask a quick question of your teacher, and as soon as they're able, they will reply to you. And we've found that's very efficient, and the teachers have been talking about that with us, how they found that very helpful. So you're going to get almost all the support you need from your teachers. And if we identify there's a particular area, particular need, we sometimes put on booster classes. We also have early bird and twilight. So students come in and study earlier in the college before classes start, or stay at the end of the day and study in the study here. And that is actually compulsory for boarders, but any students may do that study. And again, where there's a need, we can put in extra support in those slots as well. But I think the thing is, your teachers will be tracking you carefully, and they will look and see where you're struggling, and if you need more help, then they'll review topics and so on and so forth. They're very experienced in that area. If you feel you need a lot of additional support that goes beyond what would be normally able to offer, we do have an online school as well for some subjects, which is twilight, evenings, and also in the holidays. And some students doing A-level last year did join that as a kind of extra revision course over the holidays and in the evenings, and they did find that very useful. But that would be sort of a continuity thing that would be a small additional cost if you were thinking that you needed something like that. But I don't think that's something you'll need really at the beginning.
That's great, thank you very much. And then someone's have also been asked, what is your sort of top tip to be successful at your A-levels? What advice would you be giving to students who are starting?
Well, my top tip would be hit the ground running, work from the start, listen to your teachers and do the very best that you can. And that listen to your teachers for me is really, really important. If they're giving you advice, then take that advice because they're so experienced. And in the Success in the Sixth Form programme, you'll be taught about how to study, how to revise, how to make notes. You might think you know it all already and you've got a method, but actually it's really important that you try these things because there is a big gap between what you've done in GCSE or high school equivalent and A-level. It's a big step up, and don't underestimate the step up that it is. And it will seem difficult to start with, but if you keep persevering, then you will, you will succeed. I always say that doing an A-level is a bit like going on a long haul flight. Now, you all know that you're going to be getting here on a long haul flight. So you get on the runway, that's the start. Then you've got to take off. So that's why you've got to stay with your teachers and listen. Then you climb and you keep climbing. Okay, A-levels like that. And then you'll hit the time of top flight. And then you've got to try and stay there. And on the way, you might have a little bit of turbulence, a bit of up and down. But just keep trying, keep working hard, keep asking. The students that ask questions and ask when they don't understand, even if it seems a small thing, they're the students that will succeed because they're ironing out the problems as they go. And we will be there to support you with that. Chris, you might have a bit of other advice coming from your end of your top tip.
My top tip was the same as yours. It's listen to your teachers. Some of you will be coming from completely different education systems. Some of you will have been in UK schools here in the UK. Some of you might have been in international schools abroad. So, you're all coming with completely different experiences, completely different backgrounds, and our teachers are extremely experienced. Most of them have been here for a long time. They are absolute experts in teaching A-levels and in getting students to top class universities. All right, and they do know what they're talking about. So make sure you listen to your teachers, make sure you ask lots of questions. I mean, Liz talks about a long haul flight. I'm a runner, so I would compare doing A-levels to running a marathon. You kind of set off and it's okay, and then you're surrounded by other people and everything's okay. It's a little bit tough, but it's all right. But then you've just got to keep going. It gets harder and harder, but you've just got to keep going. There'll be times where you feel like giving up. There'll be times where you need somebody who's there to give you a drink and to give you a sponge and to have a little wash and to have a little bit of reflection. But the most important thing, like when you're doing a marathon, is just keep going, keep going, keep going. And there might be times where you feel like giving up. And that's absolutely fine. Make sure you don't. Make sure you use the support which is there available to you. And after 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, you'll see that end there.
Okay.
Can I also just add something else to what's already been said? Many students make the mistake of focusing too heavily on their academic subjects and not enough time on their English. When you go to university, most of you will need to attain a certain level in their IELTS test. And there have been several sort of students in the past few years that have kind of almost like forgotten about that. They've spent too long focusing on their academic subjects and not enough time practicing their English. So when it comes to taking an IELTS test, then they've not got the grade or the band score to progress to their chosen university. So don't ignore the IELTS requirements and keep practicing your English as much as you can, both inside the college, of course, to your teachers, and outside the college whenever you can. And that means those of you who maybe are going to be living with guardians or parents or what have you as well, because I know some of you won't be in the boarding. Speak to your parents if they do speak English. Speak to your parents in English for half an hour or an hour each night as well. Try and practice as much as you can. There's a free newspaper in Manchester that you can pick up as well. Try and read the newspapers and watch sort of television and things like that. So don't underestimate the English, because you will need that to get into your chosen university.
Yeah, very much so, Ian. Very important. It's part of your programme. I noticed there was a question about textbooks. Would we provide the textbooks on the pre-reading list? No, the reading list is just really a taster of things you might want to look at. The textbooks, if we provide them for the subject, will be exam board or subject specific. Okay, just to answer that one. I think there's one about weekends as well and what to do at the weekends. Chris, do you want to have a talk about that one of the link to the boarding?
Yep. So because we've got the resident house parents, we will be arranging activities at the weekends. Okay, and you know, as Liz said before, Manchester is a really cool city. Right? There's lots going on, sporting wise, music wise, culture wise. And where we are location wise, there's lots of places to go and visit. So I don't know exactly what the program will be, but when we spoke to the house parents, the new house parents back in kind of May, June time, they came up with some fantastic suggestions of places to go, of things to do with you, from visiting local art galleries to going to football matches, going to visit some really beautiful kind of stately homes in the area, going walking up in the hills, going over to Liverpool. There's lots and lots and lots of opportunities to do stuff at the weekend. And you know, as Ian said, in terms of learning English, it's also really important whilst you're here to get involved in the local culture, to get involved in doing things at the weekend, be it go and watch the Champions, Manchester City if you can get a ticket, or go to the other club, which is, they wear red, they're not very good, the other side of Manchester. There'll be plenty of opportunities to do that. Some of you are into basketball, we'll go and watch the Giants play, go and hear some music, lots and lots of stuff to do. And then somebody's asked a question about the football team. I'm assuming that's about kind of international house and that football. I'm not entirely sure what information it is you want about them, but so this will be our third year with International House, fourth year with International House, fourth year running the football program. And you know, all the coaches at International House, they are very experienced football people. They've all grown up in and around the professional game. One of them still plays semi-pro with a team called Marine, and you know, they have links with kind of Northwest teams, Blackburn Rovers, Everton Football Club, Liverpool Football Club. And when we were talking to Mick back in June, July time, he was hoping to sign International House up for a local league or two. So if you are coming to join the football program, you will get a chance to play kind of proper matches against other local colleges, against other local reserve sides. And again, you know, now the COVID restrictions have been lifted, you will also have a chance with International House to go and watch hopefully some Champions League football. This is what they did a couple of years ago. They took the boys to the Etihad. I think they also tried to go to Old Trafford. So you know, those are really exciting things for you to do. And for those of you coming to do the basketball program, again, this will be our kind of, the end of this year will be the end of our first full year with basketball. We've got lots, I think we've got about 5 or 6 students coming to do the basketball program. And again, it will be training with professionals and ex-professionals, and you'll get the opportunity to go and watch some Giants games and get involved with professional basketball.
Okay, thank you very much. So that appears to have answered everybody's questions. Obviously, if anyone does have any other questions, you can always email in to the college at any time in the run-up to your arrival if there is anything you want to know. Does anyone else have anything to say other than sort of farewell?
Can I just reiterate what we were saying about traveling? It's very important for those of you who are going to be traveling over the next few weeks that to let us know as much in advance as you can when you're going to be traveling, and then I will try and arrange a kind of Zoom chat with you to talk about your own particular travel arrangements and what you would have to do in terms of any quarantine and that sort of thing. Okay, so it would just be more individual to what you've heard today from Chris when he was talking about the traveling. So please, you know, keep us informed as to your travel arrangements as soon as you know them, so we can arrange that little chat with you prior to you traveling.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much, Ian. So I think that, sorry, Liz, you've gone off mute.
I was really just going to say thank you very much for listening, and I'm glad someone put that it was useful advice. So we're very pleased that it's been helpful for you, and we're just super excited about seeing you all. So you know, only 3 weeks to go, or a little bit longer for some of you, but that will be great, and we'll be on board, and we will set our Abbey ship sailing for the new term, which is really exciting.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you very much for attending, everyone. Safe travels, and we look forward to meeting you all very soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye. See you all soon. Bye.
Bye.